I think Wall Street Bets is pretty cool, but it's also pretty dangerous. It's fine if you just want to watch, but don't get sucked into the madness. For anyone who hasn't seen or heard of the Wall Street Bets community yet, it's basically an anything-goes gambling forum where people bet huge sums of money on extremely risky investments. So risky that in a lot of cases they lose like 100% of their investment within a matter of hours. They make these trades in the hopes of making like 10 times or even 100 times their money within a matter of days, and a lot of times those types of trades do not turn out well. These Wall Street Bets are far riskier than going to a casino, and it's really like the wild, wild west of investing right now. The way these people are making such risky investments is through trading options. This is not going to be an Options 101 YouTube video, but in short, they're basically contracts or agreements that say, I think a certain stock will get to a certain price by a certain time, and if you hold the option to that time and the stock's not at the price yet, you lose 100% of what you put in. But if the stock does get to that price or even passes it, you could make a huge multiple on what you put into it. But when you buy what is called an out-of-the-money option, which means an option on a stock for which the stock's current price is far away from your target of the price of that option, you need the stock price to move a huge amount in a really short period of time to make any money at all. So there's small odds of that actually happening, but when it does happen, it pays off huge, and so people are like getting super addicted to this type of trading. One of the reasons this forum is so dangerous to the public is because many of the members are like kids who are using money they've inherited, or maybe they did save up money over a long period of time and now they're just wasting it away, or student loans, and they're making these extremely risky bets with the money that they certainly should not be. On the forum, people actually brag when they lose huge sums of money in short periods of time. And then when other people post about actually making money using some of these strategies, they'll get like publicly ridiculed over and over, and it's just crazy to see. In the worst case scenario, and this one got a lot of media attention earlier this year, one of the users posted about losing, I think it was like $400,000 or $800,000 in the matter of a couple days or a week, and then subsequently committed suicide because of the inability that they were going to have to pay back these debts in the future, which is of course a horribly tragic story. And I don't really know what the community's response to that was actually, but the fact that this online forum encouraged that type of behavior, which led to such a horrible outcome, is of course, I think, fairly described as dangerous. And on the other side of the coin, the reason why I say it can be cool is because I think this WSB community is actually bringing a lot of attention to the trading and then investing world. Now, most of that attention has been negative, but like they say, any press is good press. So the more and more eyeballs that get directed towards people trading and investing their money, I think could have some positive outcomes later on. I believe that most people who see this community are not actually going to take part in the extremely irresponsible and risky trades on these out-of-the-money option contracts that most of the core members are actually using, but rather they're going to watch and get a kick out of it in some cases like I do, and then eventually say, you know, this is kind of interesting. Is there a way I can apply some of this in a far less risky application to my own finances? And if it generates that type of attention, then ultimately I think that would be a good thing. But it's also true that no one is going to be directly encouraged within the Wall Street Bets forums to take part in responsible investing, and actually it's the complete opposite. Whenever anyone has a question or makes mention of any type of responsible investing strategies, they again get really quickly ridiculed with some really inappropriate comments. So it's not a direct route to it, but it's kind of like a gateway into the world of investing for people who have never done it before. Now, Tesla stock, for the purposes of this conversation, is simply a guinea pig for the entire Wall Street Bets community, it seems like. If you've followed Wall Street Bets for any period of time, you've seen some of the other names that have become extremely popular and then fallen off. I think Micron was the most popular a couple years ago. Then it seems like last year's Nvidia. Now this year, throughout 2020, it has certainly been Tesla. For whatever reason, it seems like Tesla stock has become like the primary stock to trade for every single person who's doing these Wall Street Bets. And sure, the stock price moves a lot, but when you're buying way out of the money options, any stock price movement can have an impact on that. So I think it might have to do with all the memes and the Elon Musk comments that he makes. There are a ton of memes out there about Elon Musk, also known as Muskrat, also known as like the 42069 king of Wall Street Bets and the stock market, and the troll of the SEC and whatever else, you know, reputations he has out there, that makes these people just love him and want to trade Tesla stock all the time. Now, an interesting tidbit about Tesla's valuation that I shared on a TikTok is that Other auto manufacturers hover somewhere around a valuation of $2,000 per car that they sell. So if there was an auto manufacturer that sold like 1 million cars during a year, their valuation there would be $2 billion. Tesla stock, though, is valued per car that they sell right now at over $1 million, which is 50,000, which is 5,000 times the valuation per car sold of the traditional automakers. Now, it's also true that they are doing other things rather than just making cars like those traditional auto manufacturers. And I get that Tesla is really operating and trying to compete in some brand new businesses that could have a huge growth potential in the future. But the fact is they are not generating revenues from those activities yet. So you really have to assign some crazy future growth numbers to the exploratory businesses that Tesla's participating in to justify the valuation that they're at now. But the stock, at least in 2020 so far, just keeps going straight up, it seems like. Also note that that stock split 7-to-1 this year. So even though it's like at $500 a share right now, at the old share price, that would be $3,500 a share. And then keep in mind that Elon Musk said he thought the stock was overvalued once it hit $420. And now we're at $3,500. Either way, I'm not going to comment on whether I think Tesla is overvalued or undervalued because I can't make investment recommendations over YouTube, but it's definitely an interesting one to watch. And I think you've seen the Wall Street Bet gravitate to this stock so heavily for some of those reasons I mentioned, especially on some of the days when it's moving like $50 a share. You could make a huge sum of money on a deep out of the money option trade if you had bought that trade the day before it hits one of these huge moves. I guess I'm partly just surprised too that a rogue high-risk trading forum, number one, has generated as much popularity within the trading community as it has, where almost everyone who trades a stock knows about Wall Street Bets now. But number two, has generated a huge amount of popularity within the general public. Like, you could walk down the street and maybe 1 out of 10 people will have heard of Wall Street Bets. So that just goes back to the point I mentioned earlier about it being an introduction to trading and investing for a lot of people who may not have otherwise ever even thought about it. For a quick personal story, in my own trading career, I have probably placed maybe 2 of what you could call Wall Street Bet type trades. One worked out really well for me and one worked out very poorly for me. So, you know, from a monetary value, they've basically kind of netted each other out. Both of them were extremely stupid. I felt like an idiot after doing them because I realized I never would have made trades like that if left to my own vices. But since I saw this community and had read through so many posts and thought it was cool, I got drawn into it and was, of course, influenced by reading those things and decided to use my own money on that type of activity, which just made me feel like a dummy for following the herd. In other aspects of life, I rarely ever am influenced by outside parties and really kind of pride myself on making my own decisions and being an independent thinker and things like that. So I just didn't like the fact that I had made those trades. I probably lost a little bit of money, or maybe made a little bit of money in total actually, but I'm never going to do it again. But let me know in the comments down below what you think about Wall Street Bets. Maybe everyone else thinks it's just extremely irresponsible and so bad for the global investing community that it should be totally removed. I guess I could understand that argument if you wanted to make it, or maybe you love it. I don't actually know what people watching this video might think. So if you have questions for me, just leave them down below. I always get back to you on them. As always, thanks for watching.